bringing Gator Nation a different Gator great every episode.
This is Jabbar Gaffney. You're listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
Hey, I'm Earl Everett. You're not a Gator, you're Gator bait.
This is Bo Carroll.
Hey, I'm Rita Anthony.
This is Kiwan Ratliff, and you are listening to All for the Gators podcast.
This is Cedric Faison, a.k.a. C4.
This is Brandon James.
This is Jack Jackson. Go Gators.
Hi, this is your boy Jeremy Mincy, a.k.a. Mr. Mintz, and we were the All for the Gators podcast.
This is Ben Trooper. You listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
Hey guys, this is Jarvis Moss. Go Gators.
You rocking with Lito Shepherd, and we're All for the Gators podcast, man. Top notch.
This is Chris Doring, and you're listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
And now, your Gator alumni hosts, John, Andy, and Sid.
Yep. You're trying to get at me now. The clicking and the sipping and the... Oh, there he goes. This is great. See, the listeners don't know. They don't know.
They don't know the hell you have to deal with us.
When I have to edit, and there's sips and burps and clicks and creaks and cracks.
Don't they, as they say, fix that in post? Isn't that a fix that in post situation?
Yeah, and there's usually people that do that full time and get paid, and that's their job. Not me.
Speaking of getting paid in their job, though, I gotta say, one thing I wanted to mention on this one was... I know we don't get paid for this, and we do it for the fun. But you got to be getting close to a payday with some of these guys, man. Every show, your intros, they love it. They're like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever. One of these guys is going to call you and be like, you're going to be my Hall of Fame intro guy or something. Watch, it's going to happen.
Oh, how awesome would that be?
It's coming. I mean, the accolades roll every episode, man. Am I wrong?
What if Jabbar calls and says, hey... I want you guys to induct me into the UF Athletics Hall of Fame.
We're there.
Oh, yeah, we're there. It's a pipe dream, but we're there.
Good job. Put that in the universe. We need this. This is good. I like it.
I like it.
We're going to make Sid hold the cable, though.
Like the old days.
Yeah. All right. I do have a question for you guys.
Uh-oh. This is never good.
No, I think it's pretty good. It popped up in my head, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ask the guys this. Here we go. If you can have any piece of Florida Gator football memorabilia, what would it be? And you could have anything from history.
Coach's visor.
What's one thing? That's it? Just Coach's visor?
That is synonymous with University of Florida. You see a visor, you think of the old ball coach. You think of the old ball coach, you think University of Florida. That was the Kevin Bacon game, all right there. 2 loops. Boom.
What about... the head ball coach's visor from the national championship game.
Oh, I assume there was only one visor. You think he has a whole collection?
I'm sure he does. He's like Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. What is it?
Who is it? I remember Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. This is how we answer the door in my neighborhood.
Is that no?
Who the hell is it?
That's Eddie Murphy on SNL. What's the one I'm thinking of?
That's what you said, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
What was the real one?
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Yes. Like all his yellow sweaters.
Oh my God.
Spurrier opens the closet and it's a bunch of the same visors, and he just puts a different one on every day.
We are off the rails early tonight.
All right, so we're gonna go with.
I like Mr. Robinson more than Mr. Rogers. I'm sorry, that was.
I can't believe you made that reference. That is great. I hope our listeners get it. If you don't, search on YouTube, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood from SNL. Oh man, that's great. So Sid's taking Coach Spurrier's visor from the '96 national championship game. That's what we'll say. Andy, what about you?
I'll tell you what would be fun. The Gator in front of the stadium. I would love to have that sucker in my front yard.
Oh, I like it.
The one we took a picture at, the one from the website that I'm up next to. Put that thing right by my front door.
The Bull Gator statue.
Yeah.
We just need a video of Stephen Harris and his roller skates doing circles around the Gator, and then we got it. That's gold.
Neck roll and all.
All right. I would say Rexy's Heisman Trophy, but we know how that panned out, right? It's on Eric Crouch's farm somewhere.
I still believe that'll be returned to its rightful owner eventually. It's
So with that being said, I'm going to go with, I'm assuming he got some kind of trophy or award for SEC Player of the Year in 2001. So I'm going to go Rex Grossman's SEC Player of the Year in 2001 award.
Yeah, I like it.
I hope it's a statue that'll present better in my house, assuming my wife will let me put it up.
Do you think I would have issues putting that big gator in front of my house?
No, your house is big enough.
I don't have an HOA in this one.
There you go. You can do it. If there's a will, there's a way.
That's right.
Anybody got a pickup truck?
If the bull gator's missing, don't come looking.
Yeah. That's great.
Okay.
That is great.
All right. How do we segue?
So speaking of Mr. Robinson's neighborhood, who's coming into our neighborhood this show?
Wow, you are on fire, Sid.
He is.
We got a native today. He is Gainesville Archer, Florida, born and bred. Growing up watching his Uncle Ricky ball out in the swamp and then for the Broncos, today's guest would go on to carve out his own legacy in the orange and blue. But first, it all started at Newberry High School, where for the Fighting Panthers, he was a three-time first-team All-State selection at linebacker and All-American, amassing 150 tackles his junior year, 132 his senior year, and capping off his stellar high school campaign with almost 400. This legacy recruit signed on with Spurrier and his hometown Gators and would roam the swamp as a true freshman in '99, making his very first start on a big stage, the SEC Championship against Bama. No problem. He led the Gators defense in tackles with 17. This man was a pure playmaker at linebacker. Weak side, strong side, it didn't matter. He gave quarterbacks a fit, flat out punished ball carriers and receivers, and was just a problem for SEC defensive coordinators. Hurries, deflections, huge fumble recoveries, INTs, sacks, he did it all, and at big-time moments. 310 career tackles in the orange and blue, and would go on to play for the Vikings in the NFL. Gator Nation, I give you Butkus Award candidate and O2 honorable mention all SEC. We demand a recount. SEC champion, dangerous number 59, Mr. Michael Dondrel Nattiel.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's so cool to have you on with us today and to give Gator Nation an update on how you're doing.
I'm doing pretty well. I've been coaching high school football for about the last 20 years now. I'm over at Williston Middle High School, working with Coach Robbie Pruitt, the only high school coach I never beat in high school.
You can't beat him, join him.
That's right.
Well,
it's awesome to have the opportunity to work with Coach Pruitt.
Let's start with being born in Gainesville and your uncle Ricky Nattiel being a star for the Gators. Did you grow up a Gator fan, and what was your relationship like with Unc growing up?
Of course. I used to ride by that stadium all the time on the weekends after my high school football games on Friday nights, and wanted to have the opportunity to play in the swamp. Just growing up, seeing him excel in college and in the NFL was definitely something big for me to see, and let me know that I could do it. And it was going to take a lot of hard work.
Was that your biggest inspiration, watching him?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Getting a chance to watch him in the swamp and catch the ball and do a lot of electric things with the ball in his hands, and I would say that's probably one of the most fulfilling things that I had as a kid growing up. Just having that mentor and that person that you could look at, and he's one of those guys that he mostly did everything right by the book and was a hard worker. So it was definitely someone that I could look up to.
Well, you started in your own right at Newberry High School. Didn't waste a whole lot of time developing the skill of tackling, for sure. John said in the intro, almost 400 total tackles in high school. I got to ask, did opponents ever get a first down against you?
Very rarely. But I always tell my high school coach I was snubbed as a freshman because I had 130 tackles as an outside backer as a freshman, and I didn't make All-State. So I had a chip on my shoulder from my freshman year. So, I got a chance to watch Keith Kelsey, dominate in the middle with that, that diamond defense that we ran at Newberry. And, I wore the same high school number he did. Coach Pritchett, he said he loved seeing that 25 in the middle and going sideline to sideline. So I just tried to hold up the tradition, and I just tried to do my best.
So that freshman year notwithstanding, of course, with the snub, you do wind up with a 3-time All-State All-American. College must have been knocking down your door to get you. Were you considering going anywhere else, or what did it take for Coach Spurrier to get you to stay home?
I would say recruiting got really hectic for me because I took the SAT the end of spring of my junior year, and I passed it. So, colleges and coaches were knocking my door down. I had a lot of phone calls, a lot of messages on those old answer machines where you get there, you press the button, and there'll be 35 messages from different college coaches across the country. And with all the different mail and stuff, I see a lot of kids in recruiting these days. They like to put on Twitter all the mail and the stuff they get. And man, I could have put all that mail up on there. It was hundreds and hundreds and thousands of letters.
What's one message you could remember that you would have put up on social media? Is there a specific coach that left you a message that you can remember?
Yeah, there was a linebacker coach over at Florida State. I think it was Coach Gladden at the time, Jim Gladden. At the time, it was me, Kendall Pope, and Ricardo Wimbush, a guy to Georgia that was highly recruited also. He told me he would take us and put us back against the world. So that said a lot with us three guys, but we all went to different schools, so that didn't happen. So,
was your uncle involved in your recruitment at all?
Just a little, along the lines of, if I needed to, call and ask about, certain things about, recruiting. How should I approach it, and what should I look for in programs? But I think at the end of the day, I was truly, deep down a Gator, and
nice.
Always, to cheer for the orange and blue, and always rep the Gators, man. It was something about that going to gold I didn't like, and I hated the chant that it had.
Absolutely.
I think we all agree with that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, gotcha. So that I would say that, being close, being home, and just being around the university and being around, the atmosphere and the game day atmosphere, it was just unbelievable.
You get on campus in '99, walking into that locker room, guys like Andrew Davis, Travis Carroll, Eugene McCaslin, they're all there. Tell us about your first impressions.
Yeah, man, Gerard Warren, man, I played against that guy in high school, and just walking in that locker room and seeing, I played against Alex Brown in high school also, just seeing those guys and just imagine, all us being on one team and, going to war with each other in that swamp, man. You had Alex Brown on one side, Gerard Warren, Mike Nattiel, and Lito Shepherd. Pretty good side. On the weak side. So there weren't too many players coming out the backside on our defense.
You come in with a bunch of other freshmen as well, like Byron Hardman, Matt Ferrier, Mojo.
Yeah.
What was the competition like in practice for you to be able to get on the field in that first year?
Man, it was hard. We signed 6 linebackers the year I came in, and I thought to myself, I was always a competitor and always wanted to compete at a high level. So competing wasn't, it wasn't an issue with me. I was always going to come in and work hard and give it all I got. And I can remember my first Monday night football game. The freshman played. After about maybe midway the second quarter, I see Coach Spurrier comes over to Coach Jim Collins, and he took me out. I'm like, Coach, why am I getting taken out? And like, well, you're done for Monday Night Football, going with the varsity. And that let me know Coach Spurrier saw something in me that night on that Monday Night Football that he was going to give me an opportunity to show it, and
that's amazing.
Do it on Saturdays.
So before that moment, coming in 3-time All-State, you got to have the confidence, right? Were you nervous at all around those other guys, or was it just pure dogs out there on the practice field going at each other?
No, never was nervous. Just more confident in myself and my ability, what I could do. I started as a freshman in high school and didn't get a chance to play JV, and coming in as a freshman at Florida and getting an opportunity to get on the field was exciting. So it was definitely a lot of hard work, and I think my coaches did a great job of getting me prepared.
Well, you get in every game that season. You get 35 tackles, 22 solo, a pass deflection. But you get your first start, oddly enough, against Alabama in the SEC championship game. Take us into that locker room pregame. What's going through your mind? How pumped are you?
I didn't really know if I was going to start because Keith Kelsey, he had a knee injury, and I didn't know how well he was going to move around on that turf. So he went through pregame warm-ups and all that stuff, and actually he started the game, but after the first series, Coach Collins got him out. He just wasn't moving well enough. So I got my call, I got my number call, and I just remember, and I just wanted to go out and play hard and make my family proud.
Well, the Gators take a tough loss, unfortunately, but you couldn't have done much more. You lead the team with 17 tackles, as was also mentioned in the intro there. When you think back about that game, what comes to your mind?
I think that made your family happy, by the way.
I think so. Just thinking back on that game, it was a great atmosphere. I just thought we were going to come out and beat these guys, man, because our offense went down in the first series and, pounded the ball in the end zone. And then after that, we really didn't get much started. So the defense was on the field a lot. I was just thinking about, just trying to make a play and get the ball back to Coach Spurrier and his offense pretty much. But at the end of the day, I think we bounced back the next year. We came back, SC Championship, and we beat Auburn. So that was a great experience for me to get that experience under my belt. I think Bam would agree also because he played a lot that game. And then the next year we both, we stepped in and did our thing.
Speaking of next year, on to 2000, your sophomore year. You actually start the season with the shoulder injury and missed the spring drills. What was this about? Was that carry over from the bowl game or just a little cleanup?
Well, it was more so in the weight room when I was lifting. I was having a little joint pain in my shoulder, and I had a capsule shrinkage, so I missed that spring. Matt Ferrier got the nod that spring and to start the season. Defense played well until we got to Mississippi State. They guys ran up and down the field on us. I think they might have ran for 400 or 500 yards on us, I think. But after that game, Coach Spurrier came into the defensive team meeting and told our defensive coaches to give some of the young guys a chance. And my antennas went up when he came in and said that. So the next game was LSU in the Swamp. And that was my first start. I think it was 17 tackles, 2 interceptions later. I never looked back.
You just destroy them, and do you have yourself a day. You're in the game ball. How fun was that game, and where is that ball today?
Actually home in my mom's trophy case. That's where it's at.
Nice. All right.
But there was an old country song that Coach Spurrier played for us that game. He said, "Just dance. Just come out and dance." And I think that's what we did. We came out and let loose and had fun, man. The crowd was into the game, and the defense was just really tenacious that day.
Well, as that season went on, before you got to Mississippi State and the LSU game, you got stronger yourself, and you play in all the 12 games, starting 7. Were things starting to come together for you? Was it development? Was it just getting healthier on your shoulder?
Yeah, just getting healthy. I always had confidence in my abilities to understand the defense and be where I need to be. Just had to get healthy and give myself a chance to show the coaches what I had.
You led all Gators linebackers in tackles that year with 61. Did you feel, with all those other guys on the team, did you feel like you were kind of starting to emerge as the leader on defense at that point?
I would say the leader because, we had Gerard, Warren, Alex, and those guys were leading the team at that point. I was just trying to be a contributor and try to hold my end up, and play solid in the middle.
All right, let's move on. 2000 SEC Championship game, Atlanta, Georgia versus Rudy Johnson and Auburn. And Johnson...
I want just a sip.
Cool. You gotta give her a sip, man. All right. Talking about Rudy Johnson, he entered that game over 1,500 yards rushing. You guys held him to 47 on 17 carries. Mm-hmm. You had 8 tackles, 2 fumble recoveries, including a huge one inside the 5 when Auburn was driving. How do you remember that play?
Just always hustling. My dad always told me you don't have to have talent to hustle, and I always just hustle to the ball. The ball just kept bumping and running around on the guys jumping on it and squirting from under him, and just hustling to the ball and just was able to get on it.
Fumble fall on it, right?
That's it. Yeah, fumble fall on it.
That's right.
It sounds simple, but it's hard to do.
What kind of emotions are you feeling after that final whistle blows and you guys are being crowned SEC champs?
All the hard work paid off. All the 6 a.m. running and lifting, all the working, all the running. Hard practices paid off, man. Once you reach a goal like that as a player and a team, once you set a goal before the season, you reach it. It's an amazing feeling.
That ring in the trophy case at your mom's too?
Yes, sir. Still have that ring.
All right. So you guys got to be feeling good heading into 2001, and you personally are nominated as a preseason candidate for the Dick Butkus Award as the nation's top linebacker. That must have felt amazing getting recognized for your individual work. What do you remember about that time?
It felt amazing. I was really really surprised. I was sitting with Andre Davis in the training room. We were just looking through the books, and it's like, hey, you're on the Buckets watch list. I'm like, huh? I was like, I only started 6 games last season. How is that possible? But I guess when you're active and you're making plays, they recognize it, and that was a great honor.
Sure. Well, unfortunately, 9/11 hits in 2001.
Yes, sir.
And that Tennessee game we know is postponed and it's rescheduled for the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Was it hard to get up for games after 9/11, or was it more like a great escape outlet for you guys?
I remember that week when it happened. We were all, in class when it happened, and Coach canceled practice for the rest of the week. And I was like, man, I was geared up to ready to see those Tennessee guys, man. And just so happened that at the end of the year when we played those guys, a lot of their teammates got healthy, and they were at full force, and they got away with one in the swamp, man. It was a tough loss because at the time, my boy Clint Portis, we were good friends. He was over at Miami, and we had been talking all that week about meeting each other in the national championship game. We could have knocked Tennessee off because we already had beat LSU at home, and we was going to face them again in the SEC championship game. So it didn't work out for us, but it was tough to lose that game at home.
Yeah, we've had a lot of your teammates on talking to us about that year. A lot of emotions. Should have won it all. They've kind of what you just said, that playing Tennessee late kind of hurt rather than that first SEC game of the year. What do you think really, what was the big difference? Was it just them getting healthy, or was it anything, did you guys underestimate them?
We kind of switched up our game plan from where we were playing over defense, where the linebackers, pretty much forcing the ball back inside each other. We went to an under defense where we were spilling the ball to the safeties, and it was hard for them to get Travis Stevens on the ground. It was a long night for those guys back there. I think if we'd have stayed in our over defense, we'd have had a better chance of containing them.
Well, the Gators do finish that year 3rd overall, and you get 66 tackles on the season, your junior year. Did you get into that bowl game with the mindset of just punishing Maryland?
Yes, sir. It was definitely that mindset. Also, I wanted to finish the season out on a good note. I think there's a play in that game. I dropped the interception, and I would have scored if I'd have intercepted that ball. Ooh. If I would have intercepted that ball and scored, I think I probably would have not came back for my senior year. I wanted to end on that note. But looking into the NFL, they told me I would probably be a mid-round, 4th, 3rd round pick. So I tried to come back my senior year and up my draft stock.
Did Coach Spurrier announcing he was leaving to go to the NFL impact you?
It did. Definitely made me weigh my options about coming back to school. Coach Spurrier recruited me, and he was the only coach I wanted to play for, just to know who the new head coach was going to be and how he was going to handle things around the building. It definitely changed my mindset once he said he was going to leave, because no one on the team knew.
Wow!
I heard about it over ESPN after the bowl game. I was still down in Miami hanging out with Clint Portis. I saw it on the ESPN that he was going to be leaving, and then everybody got a text about the email about a team meeting. And the crazy thing about the meeting, as soon as I walk in the team locker room, Miss Jerry, his wife, she looks at me and she goes, "Mike, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." So Miss Jerry, she didn't want to leave Gainesville at all. We didn't want her to leave either. But things change and things happen. So Coach Spurrier wants to see what the NFL had to offer and see if he can take his style of play from college to the NFL. So.
We've had a lot of players on from the Spurrier era. Some pretty good imitations of him. Are you a Spurrier impersonator?
Yeah, I can. There's a few sayings that he would have around the building.
You got to give us one.
Yeah.
He was always saying, don't touch the receivers, linebackers. Don't touch them. So we never touched his receivers on crossing routes. Just say that.
You talked a little bit about coming back for your senior year, wanting to improve your draft stock. Did you kind of know, though, that you were going to go into that senior year and have a monster year? You were just kind of primed for it?
Yes, sir. At that time, being a senior, being a leader on the team, just trying to lead by example, hard working. and dedication and just showing the guys, how to work. That was my biggest issue. I always had confidence in my abilities to play football, and I just think coming into my senior year was a lot different because I wanted to make a statement my last year at Florida.
Well, you sure did. 2002, your senior year, you absolutely stamped your name on a Gators legacy that year, starting all games at strong side linebacker. You had 148 tackles, 88 solo. That's averaging over 11 a game.
Yeah.
And you led the Gators with 26 big plays, right, what the coaches kept track of.
Yeah.
So after 3 seasons, 2 head coaches, all the ups and downs, how did it feel to see such dominating results out there on the field?
It was great because, we went to a different style of defense my senior year with Coach John Thompson. So we moved around and blitzed a lot. So it let us use our athletic ability and run around and make plays out there.
Speaking of running around and making plays, let's talk about Week 11 versus South Carolina. You have 18 tackles, a career high. Obviously the defensive player of the game.
Yes, sir.
This had to be one of your most memorable games. Any particular plays stand out to you about that one?
No, they just kind of string together. I mean, when you're out there, in the heat of the moment, you're just trying to read your keys and get to your spot and make plays. I can't really think of one play that stood out that game. There was a ton of them. Just tackling and get to the ball.
So your honorable mention all SEC, leaving as one of the top pass rushers in the SEC. Game captain for a few games. Looking back, what accomplishment at UF are you most proud of?
I would say getting my degree.
There you go.
That's a good answer.
Yeah,
coming back,
that's right.
Coming back, getting my degree. I always told my mom I would finish up my degree at UF. Then once I retired from the NFL, I came back. As soon as I retired, I got back into school and got my degree and got into coaching and teaching.
What is your degree in?
Sociology.
All right.
Okay. Good for you, man.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, it seemed like you spawned a special time of Gators linebackers there. Shannon Crowder came in your senior year, followed by Earl Everett, who we had on.
Yes, sir.
Seiler, Spikes. All you guys are legends. Do you ever look back and think that it maybe started with you?
Ooh.
Oh, I don't want to say that. I would say it probably started with Mike Peterson, Johnny Rutledge, Javon Curson, those guys, because those are the guys I watched. Those are the guys that I would come and, see on Saturdays playing and be in the locker room around those guys. And that definitely made an impact on me, seeing those guys excel and then going on to the NFL and doing well. So I wouldn't say it started with me, but maybe for the younger generation, seeing me and Bam out there, playing and start for 3 or 4 years, it definitely it probably helped those guys see that you still could come to college and stay around and be a leader and show guys the right way to do things.
You mentioned that those guys were kind of impacted you. Is there any one particular teammate or coach that stands out to you more than others that you feel played a big part in your success?
Yeah, I would say Andre Davis. He was like my big brother. We were in the same room. Obviously, going over game plans, being in the same room as a roommate, night before games and just studying the game plan and going over, sheets because, had Jerry Odom and Jim Collins. If you can't drop the defense and put everybody where they need to be, you're not going to get out there on that field. So
sure.
I was well prepared.
What was your relationship like with Coach Zook? How did that go when he first got on campus, you being a senior?
It went well at first. Just trying to figure out what he wanted me to do as a leader and as a team leader and keep holding guys accountable around the building, as far as going to class and, making the workouts.
Okay. So how come you said that first?
At first, yeah, during the middle of the year, we kind of had a little, we bumped heads a little bit, but we moved on from that.
All right, let's move on to the draft. 2003, you go to the Vikings in the 6th round. You mentioned that earlier. I can't say I was really excited about this, being a Packers fan. But with that said, Culpepper and Moss were there, and they were pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Were you excited about getting up there to Minnesota?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm a Florida boy going up to Minnesota. Well, I was drafted by the New Orleans Saints and got traded during the draft to the Vikings. So I thought I was going to stay in the South. Then I got a call saying you're going to be going to Minnesota. So it was definitely a shocker going, up north. But my teammates in Minnesota were awesome, man. Being around Dante, a Florida guy, and, he took me on his wing and you know, and showed me around. And you know, playing with Randy Moss, his locker was right next to me. And you know, having a guy like that with the charisma and how he carried himself, man, it was awesome. It was awesome to be in that locker room.
He was kind of wild back then, right? You got to have a Randy Moss story for us.
I'll give you this. He had a saying when he walked in the locker room. He would walk in the locker room every morning and go 84 in this beat. So you know that's just Randy being Randy. You know? So I thought that was a hilarious thing. You know, he would walk in the locker room every morning 84 in this beat. So, that was awesome. But that just he was a very confident and he was awesome. You know, awesome teammate and. Just a great teammate, man. It was awesome to see those guys, you know, throw that ball around and Dante do his thing out there.
Oh, yeah.
It is a different kind of cold up there, though. What was it like playing, you know, being a Florida boy your whole life? I mean, that had to be a shock.
Oh, most definitely, man. It would be sunny outside and it'd be negative 20 degrees outside. Quick story for you. We were going to Green Bay to play the Packers late in the season, and we were practicing outside, going to walk through, and I was standing there with my hands in my shirt. Coach O'Leary, George O'Leary walks over to me. He goes, "Hey, son, aren't you a man?" I was like, "Yeah, Coach, I'm a man." "But get your hands off the freaking shirt, son." I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's freaking negative 20 degrees out here. We're just standing around, Coach."
Weren't you playing in the dome back then? Was that less cold inside?
No. Well, we had to play outside, so they wanted to get us acclimated to the cold temp. So we were outside practicing.
Right. Rough.
Yeah, it was rough.
You get in the 32 NFL games, you get 49 tackles. But let's go to your rookie year against Seattle. You know it. Fourth quarter, 80-yard pick six.
82 yards.
82?
Hey, don't sell them short.
Yeah, come on. What are you doing?
Better fix your Wikipedia. Was it off Hasselback, and can you take us through that play?
Yeah, it was late in the game, and we were out of nickel defense. Passing situations. I was on the weak side and really didn't have any receivers running routes to my side, so I kind of cheated and looked back to the inside where E.J. Henderson was, and tight end was running across it. So I saw Hasselback flip around and look that direction. So I kind of just flipped underneath the tight end, and when he let go of the ball, I just stuck my hand out and I intercepted it with one hand, actually.
Oh, nice.
So it was a one-hand interception, and actually the tight end never saw the ball coming because he had his back turned. And so I just snatched it and just took off the sideline. There was a few guys that gave chase. Sean Alexander gave chase for about 10 yards, and he just gave up.
Nice.
You know, those Florida linebackers can run.
For real.
That's right. That is right.
Well, your Uncle Ricky never scored an 82-yarder in the NFL. He did have a 56-yarder in the Super Bowl. You got smack talk over him on that? Bring that up, I'm sure?
Nah, I don't bring that up. I think he has a record for one of the fastest scoring touchdowns in the NFL, right? In the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So that can't trump anything you do in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to meet John Elway through your uncle?
Never met John Elway, but I went to a few games when he was playing with the Broncos. Never got a chance to meet John.
Well, 49 tackles in the NFL. Was there a favorite that you remember, or maybe on the flip side of that, anyone in the league that maybe you didn't get to hit, but you would have loved to get a piece of?
Yes, Clinton Portis.
Buddy, very nice.
Yeah, and the reason being, we played them in the Sugar Bowl, right, out of New Orleans, and there's a play on film where the play goes, Santana Moss catches across him around him, running to the play, and you know, he goes down. You know, it's kind of like taking another 2 steps before I get to the pile. And Clint hits me dead in the back. He knocks me across the pile. And the ref is standing right there, and I jump up. I'm like, "You didn't see that? You didn't see that?" I turn around. Clinton is already back in the huddle. He's already back in the huddle. He shook off to the huddle. I'm like,
he ran.
Get him.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, I never got him back. At least I never got a chance to get him.
Did Coach Spurrier ever contact you when he was starting his little Gator party there in Washington?
No, he never contacted me. Never contacted me.
Maybe he should have.
Yeah,
maybe.
Could have helped him, right?
Yes, sir.
So after the NFL, as you mentioned earlier, you become a coach. How exactly did that come together? And what do we have to look forward to this season? You sending us any future Gators coming down to Gainesville from your school?
Hopefully in the future, we have a lot of young talent over at Williston. We got a lot of young talent that's going to do good for us this year, and I think we're going to have a really good chance of a shot at the state championship this year. So we've been working the kids pretty hard this summer, so I think that they want to get that bitter taste out their mouth the way we lost in the playoffs last year. We lost by a touchdown versus Wildwood, which we had a good chance of beating that team. We dropped 2 touchdowns in the end zone. So, a lot of kids it was a learning curve for a lot of kids that never been in that position before. Going from 1-9 to 10-0 the next season, that's a big jump.
That's a big turnaround.
Big turnaround.
Coaches are doing something right there.
Yeah, Coach Pruitt is doing something right. On our defensive side of the ball, we're just trying to, keep these guys in tune on what we're trying to get done and coach them up every day and get better. So I think we got a really good chance of getting into the state championship. Hopefully we can run into another former Gator, Cornelius Ingram over at Hawthorne.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
All Gator championship.
So, they won it last year. So, they're the champs of the state right now.
All right. We're going to have him on so he can give a rebuttal. I know you said you were there about 20 years. Do you have any aspirations to maybe move up to the next level or maybe try to go coach at Florida or in college?
Of course. I love doing what I do at the high school level. Get to see the kids mature and growing great young men and great citizens in the community. It's nothing like it. I coach Freddie Swain in high school. He's a former Gator.
Sure.
He's playing in the NFL now. So I've coached a lot of kids that's went on to do great things. That's firemen, cops, and all of the above. So it's just rewarding for me to see those kids do great in the community and do well with their families.
What's some of the best advice you give to these young kids today with social media and everything? You didn't have that when you were, that age and going down that path. So what kind of advice do you give those kids?
I would say don't spend much time on social media. Time consuming. It could be something that could, take up a lot of your time where you could be watching film or getting better at something else, or just, putting stuff on social media. Everybody looks at social media. College coaches look at social media. So you want to be careful what you put on social media, especially as a high schooler and you're getting recruited by college coaches.
Very good. Do you ever look back at your career and, just think that you made it to the league and you played there a couple of years and you even scored a touchdown there? How does that make you feel looking back?
You set goals as a kid, as a, teenager, and, you try to put the best forward and, work towards those goals. And I could say I've checked off a lot of my goals in life and, just being the best person I could be, the best father I could be, best coach I could be for these kids and, try to help them be the best citizen that they can be. That's it for me.
Very cool. You ever get back to any games at the Swamp?
Yes, sir. I try to get maybe 2 or 3 home games a year. I made it to 3 home games last year. So
do you get special? You get to be on the sideline, right?
Yeah. We get to get some sideline passes here and there.
All right.
It's getting pretty hot out there in that swamp.
Sure.
I like to watch it on TV a lot. So, but yeah, it's great. It's great to get out and see some of the former players that comes back in time and get hang out in the game day atmosphere. It's great.
You mentioned kids. How many kids you have? How old are they?
I have one. I have an 11-year-old daughter. She's going to be a 6th grader this year. She's a track athlete, so she does She does different sports, but track is her thing. So.
All right. I know a lot of former Gators are doing speed training programs and stuff like that. You have her hooked up with any of those guys?
Oh, yeah, of course. I've talked to Chris Rainey. He does this speed thing over in Ocala.
Yeah, friend of the show.
And so I like to get different guys to teach her different things. So because when her dad's teaching her, I'm being mean to her. So
oh yeah,
I like to let her hear. I like to let her hear it from someone else.
I know all about that.
All right, Mike, man, it's been awesome. We usually end the show with a bit. And we're going to do a Mount Rushmore. We haven't done one of those in a while. Mount Rushmore of Gators linebackers. Growing up in Gainesville, being a Gator fan, you have a long list to choose from, I'm sure. So give me your 4 Gator linebackers on your Mount Rushmore.
4 Gator linebackers?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to go with Mike Peterson.
Okay.
Johnny Rutledge. Brandon Spikes.
It's a good linebacking room.
And Channing Crowder.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's a good list.
Sure is. Sid, give me your 4.
All right. Well, I'm going to go a little old school. I'm going to bring up,
of course,
Wilbur Marshall.
Sure.
He obviously went on to great success in the NFL, but I think he's like the most decorated Gator defender.
Mm-hmm.
Got Brandon Spikes, Javon Curse too, but I'd like to give a shout out to Scott Brantley. I know many Gators know him more as a voice of the Gators, of course, for many years with Mick Hubert. But I understand he's actually a 2-time All-SEC, and that was not even in his senior year because he got hurt in his senior year. So obviously before my time, but shout out to Gator greats of the past.
Andy, who you got?
Okay, let's see. We're gonna count Curse as a linebacker.
Well, technically, he played Sam linebacker, then he moved to end. So
yeah. So I'll take him out. I'll take him out of mine. I definitely got Spikes in there. A big Mike Peterson fan, so he's there. I think you got to go Wilbur Marshall. And let's see. It's a tough one between our guest here today and Channing Crowder.
Both good choices.
I'm gonna go Mike Nattiel.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, let's not say I was the smallest linebacker too in the bunch. So.
All right, John, who do you got?
All right, I'm gonna go Wilbur Marshall. I'm gonna go Mike Peterson, Seiler, and Spikes.
Wow.
Big sign.
Good choice.
You're like Channing's biggest fan. I can't believe you left him off.
He left early. He abandoned me, man.
Oh, okay.
How fortunate are we as Gators to have so many awesome linebackers to choose from? I mean, that's quite a bank of players, present company included.
It's ridiculous.
Hey, we're doing some good recruiting of linebackers around here. Right?
That's right. Yeah. Watch out, Penn State linebacker you down here in Florida.
That's right.
Oh, man, Mike, it has been an honor and a pleasure. I know we've been working at this for a little while to get you on. It finally happened, man, and it's been awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. You've been more than gracious with your time with us. So thank you so much for doing the show. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Another good one, fellas. Another good one.
Great show.
Been a while since we had a linebacker on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The friends of our show in the linebacker room are expanding, though. We have quite the linebacking core friends of the show now.
We do. We got our own Mount Rushmore.
We do.
Crazy. Some good nuggets in that one. Some good stuff.
Yes, definitely. So which nugget are we starting with, Andy?
Are you talking nuggets or are you talking bits? You're confusing me here.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. A bit of a nugget?
Let's just call them our 2 bits.
2 bits.
2 bits it is. Ooh, man. I've got 2 I'm torn between. I'll go with the one that's, I guess, more related to him. The Spurrier saw his talent really early. We've heard a lot from other guests about those Monday Night Football games with, the freshmen. And I think he said he only lasted a couple of plays, and Spurrier came and got him off the field because he was going to be playing on Saturday. So Spurrier saw it early, so that's mine.
All right. Very cool.
All right. My turn?
Yeah, Sid, you go.
All right. I actually was remarkably impressed with the level of detail in his memory of that awesome highlight of his 82-yard, not 80, return. But you could tell it was like he was watching the game film in front of him. He was like, the tight end wasn't even looking. He saw the break on the play. There was nobody there. He stepped into it. Obviously, he's a very proud man and very humble, but clearly that is probably something he's watched more than once. And you could hear the glee as he described it. Well-deserved, because I would be screaming it from the mountaintops if I had an 82-yard touchdown pick six. But I particularly enjoyed that. Great interview, but that was pretty cool.
Nickel defense. I remember he said that too.
That's right.
He knew the scheme and everything.
Sure.
All right, John, what you got?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I don't know.
I'll give you a little bonus one too. I really like the Randy Moss story. 84. Yes, that's not a bit though. That was just awesome.
Yeah, that was great. Once again, just one of those little stories that takes you behind the curtain, and
yep. while you're thinking, I'll tell you the most eye-opening behind the curtain that I thought it might be kind of one of the most eye-opening that we've had on this show was Spurrier's wife didn't know he was leaving. Yeah. I mean,
poor Jerry.
I believe it too.
Miss Jerry was not included in the Redskins' decision. Clearly,
that was crazy. We've had a lot of guys on from that team that were there when he left, and that's the first time we heard that.
Yeah. My 2 bits is going to be when I asked him about the linebacker tradition and all the great linebackers that came in right after him, and maybe did he feel like that kind of started with him? And immediately he paid homage to the pioneers before him, Jay Rutt and all those guys, and didn't want to take any credit whatsoever, even though when you track back the history, Crowder came in his senior year, and it then sort of goes from there. Not to take anything away from the linebacking cores of the great ones we've had before, but I'm just talking about that little spurt that we had.
It was a run for sure.
Well, that's what good leaders do, though. Good leaders don't take credit; they share the credit with the ones that helped them do that, and he was quick to do that. So it's real easy to see how he was one of the leaders of the team. Even all these years later, he still kind of falls into that role.
Absolutely.
Look at this guy.
Send me off to a Metallica concert. I come back with some wisdom. What can I tell you?
I'm telling you, man. You're like a new man.
I recommend it. Everybody get out there. It's good for the soul.
Man, you should see Metallica and Pantera every week.
Yes. Is the show willing to sponsor this? Because I'm fully in favor of this.
No, we're not.
No, we don't have the budget for that.
Oh, okay. Maybe next year.
Oh, I got some news for you guys.
Oh, I love news. What you got?
Our webpage, we've added another section.
That's my favorite website.
Oh. I didn't know if I was going to tell you, and I wanted to see if you guys noticed it.
I noticed it. Can I tell you? I noticed it because it's my favorite site, and this was unsolicited. I know about the Big Play Vault, where you could see our friends of the show, many of the highlights that they discussed here on the All for the Gators podcast. This is the sort of insight you could only find here. So when you're listening to one of our episodes, for example, friend of the show, Chris Storing, tells us about that huge touchdown he has against Kentucky, well, then you could go right to the website and see the play that he spoke of. Totally adds to the experience. Yes. I'm telling you, that Metallica concert's got me real sharpened my skills here. I'm ready. I'm prepared.
I'm just going to quit. You do the show.
That's all right. My mom's going to love that. Hi, Mom, #1 fan.
All right, guys, it's allforthegatorspodcast.com. 4 is the number 4. All our listeners and Sid will be checking it out.
My favorite website.
And until next time, gentlemen, we'll do it again. Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Did we lose Andy?
Andy doesn't want to go Gators.
Go Gators.
There he is.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Sorry, I was clicking on the website. I was searching the website. I didn't want to get yelled at for clicking, so
that was like overdubbed. You were like, that was like listening to Darth Vader and the Boba Fett. It's like, that's not quite James Earl Jones. It just came in there real late out of the wind. Go Gators.
The problem is we can't end the show on anything but a Go Gators. So we had a lot of noise there. So we're gonna have to do it again. You ready?
Okay. I'm always prepared to say those 2 words.
All right. Okay. Go Gators. Oh, come on!
No! I was giving Andy his chance to get back in since he wasn't on mute this time. Go Gators!
Go Gators!